This is the drive home with TT for the Millwall drive home, driving home from the Den where it finished Millwall 0, QPR 0. I could finish it right now, to be honest. That was an awful game of football to watch. Tough to really talk about anything positive in the game other than the fact that we've picked up a point, and that's a point closer to safety. And I think it looked like both teams were going for a point. We started with the same lineup that we've played the last 3 games, and today probably you look at it and you think the 4-5-1 formation, even if we had 4 up front, I don't know if it would have made much difference today, but 4-5-1 formation that we've played, I don't know whether it really worked. I think both teams nullified each other. So we started with Dave Martin in goal. Dave Martin didn't really have to do anything of note in the game, other than claim crosses, other than, you know, there was a lot of direct football played by QPR, which is something we've been quite used to at the Den, obviously. And Matt Smith up front caused us a load of problems and battering the ball around. But Dave Martin in goal didn't really have to do much, to be honest. I give him a 6 for the fact that he came for a couple of crosses and claimed them. I don't particularly remember him having a single save to make, which is a damning indictment of the way that they play. This guy don't want to cross the road. Fair enough. So yeah, Dave Martin, I'll give a 6. The back 4, same again. Romeo at right back, Cooper and Pearce retaining their place at centre back, and James Meredith at left back. I think it was a little bit of a return to what we've been seeing from James Meredith. I didn't think it was his best performance, and I'll rate him first. I'll give James Meredith a 6. I don't think he looked very good going forward. He lost the ball a couple of times. We had Cooper and Pearce as both centre-backs, and to be honest, both of them did what they needed to do. Too often today, we were second best in the midfield. Too often, we were second best to balls that, you know, we looked a bit apprehensive, and a QPR player had a little bit more desire to go and get the ball. Both Cooper and Pearce didn't do anything wrong. No real mistakes. 6 each for them. In fact, all across the back line, I thought Marlon Romeo was the bright spark in the defence. He's trying to drive with the ball, trying to get forward. You know, nothing really worked for him as right back, trying to get the balls into box either. But he looked more of the threat. We looked more of a threat down that wing. So I'll give Romeo a 7. We had the midfield 5 of Jed Wallace as right midfield, and Jed, to be honest, end product today was not there. You know, the balls into the box lacked quality. We looked like we wanted to both Jed and Ben on both wings looked like they wanted to beat a man and then try and beat him again. They couldn't quite eke out that yard of space to get a decent delivery. And it happened a couple of times, but far too infrequently. So I'll give Jed and Ben Marshall 6. And we had the midfield 3. Obviously, the 2 holding midfielders, Ryan Leonard and Ryan Tunnicliffe. They certainly didn't dominate the game. They didn't look like they could get on the ball and do what they have been doing in recent games. Both of their touches weren't there. And again, like I said, we were second best to balls, and that came from the midfield as well. So I'll give both of them a 6. You can see that it's a pretty all the way through the lineup. You know, Ben Thompson showed flashes again, but wasn't consistent. You know, it's probably Ben Thompson's worst game since his return to the lineup, and that's. I'm not knocking. Do you know what? Nobody had a bad game today. Nobody had a bad game, but no one really particularly. I'll give Ben Thompson also a 6.5, just slightly better than Leonard and Tunnicliffe. And then we had Gregory up front, and you know, Gregory fed off scraps, didn't really have anything to go on, but he brings the ball down so well. Far too often today we put the ball long again, and that's no good when we've only got Gregory up there. He does his best, and I felt like he done really well trying to bring the ball down and bring others into play. And for that reason, I suppose Lee Gregory is my man of the match because of was probably the only Millwall player today that showed any kind of quality. Didn't really have much to do in front of goal. Neither, like I said, neither team created enough chances. And then we'll move to ref watch. John Brooks. One of the worst first halves of football at the Den for a long time, aided by an absolutely awful referee. You know, lacked any kind of quality and should not be officiating at this level. You know, the Championship's probably the 5th or 6th biggest league in the world. To have officiating like that is just horrendous. You know, QPR probably felt like they should have got a couple of decisions in the second half, but in the first half he was absolutely atrocious. And the biggest decision is Gregory's through on goal, a lumped ball over the top of the QPR centre backs, and the defender's gone into the back of him. It's clearly a foul. Whether it's accidental or not, I don't think it was accidental. I think he knew he was beaten, took him down. A clever play by the defender, because it was probably the only time anyone was going to look like scoring. And the referee's given nothing. You know, he couldn't give a foul. He's given a foul. He's going to have to give a sending off. But it's a blatant foul, and it should be a sending off, and that changes the game. Because I don't even know if we'd have broke down 10 men, QPR, but we certainly would have had a better chance of it. The thing that disappoints me is that, you know, they look like they wanted it more than us today, and that's disappointing. And that's no. I'm not giving our players any discredit, because, you know, they worked hard. They just weren't good enough today, and it was a chance for us to pull away from the bottom three. At half time, it was looking as an absolute disaster, because we had, you know, we had all of the other teams around us were winning. Wigan were winning, Reading were winning, and Rotherham were winning. Fortunately, only I think it was Wigan came back to get a point. No, Reading came back to get a point against Norwich. The other two lost, and that's, you don't want to be relying on other teams slipping up to stay up. But I can't see us getting anything at Sheffield United on Saturday. Our home form is what's going to do it, and hopefully when the bigger teams come down and try and attack us a little bit more, we will look to getting in behind them, because no team looked like scoring today. You know, Smith had a couple of headers that, you know, potentially could have scored, but there was absolutely a game of no quality, and that's the headline today. A game of two teams struggling at the bottom of the Championship, with an awful referee, an absolutely dire referee that killed the game, killed any momentum, didn't want things to flow, and gave us absolutely nothing. You know, it was a disaster of a ref, and I say it week in, week out. There was a lot of parents there of my under-8 Lions that were, as you can see, Zach in his kit behind us, and it's Zach's birthday Friday, and it's my dad's birthday today, so happy birthday, Dad. He's got me into being a Millwall fan. It took me when I was very young. Zach's first game, he was 2.5 weeks old, but I wouldn't be going to Millwall if it weren't for my dad, so I want to say happy birthday to my dad, who was going to come down but didn't feel too well. He lives on the Isle of Wight now. So I love you, Dad, happy birthday. And obviously, like I said, it's Zach's birthday on Friday, and hopefully we can put in a similar working performance. I think that's probably what you'll call that, a hustle and bustle, but with no quality, absolutely no quality. And if we're going to stay up, we're going to have to pick up 3 points at the Den, so that's not good enough today. Once again, please, if you haven't got your Wonderwall tickets, get them. I want to say, I'm proud. Like I've said earlier, my boys were guard of honour today. So the boys that were there, we had Edward, he plays in goal a lot. We had Jason and Kai, and obviously Zach. We had, who else did we have? Alfie was there, and I think I said Jason, Ed. Jason. So. And that was all of the boys that are there, and it was, like I said, it was a proud moment of them waving the flags, and that's what I'll take out of tonight, because the football wasn't worth the thing. I've said it before, if I can get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the season, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We got nearly 300 likes for the last video, and that's absolutely amazing. So thank you very much for the support. And as I was walking around the stadium, people calling out and giving me the thumbs up, saying they like the channel, so I really appreciate that. We've got enough in us to stay up. Again, we need to keep the same lineup as far as I'm concerned, for Sheffield United to give us the best opportunity of winning. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you don't mind. Come on, you Lions.